A warrior's ascent, from battlefield to beltway. Pete Hegseth, decorated veteran, outspoken conservative, and now potentially the most powerful man in the United States military. His journey to this point, the ornate Senate chamber, the weight of expectation, the murmur of controversy, is anything but ordinary. Growing up in Minnesota, Hegseth felt the call to service early. West Point beckoned. Then came the crucible of Iraq, where he earned a Bronze Star and witnessed firsthand the realities of combat. But Hegseth's ambition transcended the battlefield. He sought to shape the narrative, to champion his vision for America's role in the world. He traded fatigues for a suit, joining the chorus of voices on Fox News. His sharp commentary, unapologetically conservative, resonated with millions. He became a familiar face, a trusted voice for a certain segment of America. And then the call came from Trump Tower. President-elect Trump, himself no stranger to shaking up the establishment, saw in Hegseth a kindred spirit. Here was a man who spoke his language, who understood the yearning for a stronger, more assertive America. The nomination for Secretary of Defense sent shockwaves through Washington. Hegseth, with limited government experience, represented a radical departure from the norm. But for his supporters, this was precisely the point. The old guard, they argued, had grown complacent, bogged down in bureaucracy. They craved a disruptor, a man of action. Hegseth, with his fiery rhetoric and unwavering conviction, fit the bill perfectly. Yet even as Hegseth prepared to face the Senate Armed Services Committee, storm clouds gathered. His past, a mix of triumphs and controversies, cast a long shadow. The hearing room, packed with journalists, senators, and curious onlookers, crackled with anticipation. The warrior, now a political combatant, was ready for battle. From the outset, Hegseth's vision for the Pentagon was clear: to restore what he called the warrior ethos. The military, in his view, had become bloated, inefficient, more focused on diversity quotas than on winning wars. He pledged to slash bureaucracy, streamline procurement processes, and empower commanders in the field. "We will no longer be shackled by endless paperwork and risk-averse generals," he declared, his voice echoing through the hearing room. Hegseth's priorities were laser-focused on confronting what he saw as the greatest threats facing America: a rising China and a resurgent Russia. He called for a massive investment in the nuclear triad, hypersonic weapons, and artificial intelligence. Deterrence, he argued, came not from diplomacy, but from overwhelming military might. "We must make our enemies understand that any aggression against the United States will be met with swift and decisive force," he asserted. His rhetoric resonated with many Republicans on the committee, who praised his commitment to a strong national defense. Senator Joni Ernst, herself a combat veteran, commended Hegseth for his clear-eyed assessment of the threats we face. Yet, his hawkish pronouncements did little to assuage the concerns of Democrats, who worried about his temperament and lack of experience. Senator Tammy Duckworth, a Purple Heart recipient who lost both legs in Iraq, questioned Hegseth's understanding of the complexities of modern warfare. "This isn't a cable news segment where you can just bomb the problem away," she retorted. The hearing room once again became a microcosm of a deeply divided nation, reflecting the anxieties and uncertainties of a world on edge. As Hegseth laid out his vision for a leaner, meaner military, a chorus of critics raised questions about his own past. The allegations of sexual misconduct from his time at Fox News, which he vehemently denied, resurfaced with a vengeance. Democratic senators grilled him relentlessly, demanding to know how he could be trusted to lead an institution grappling with its own Me Too reckoning. Hegseth, visibly flustered, dismissed the allegations as a smear campaign orchestrated by his political opponents. "These are baseless accusations designed to distract from the real issues," he insisted. But the damage, it seemed, was done. The specter of scandal hung heavy in the air, casting a pall over his testimony. His critics went further, highlighting his lack of experience in government and his often inflammatory rhetoric. They pointed to his past statements praising authoritarian leaders and questioning the loyalty of Muslim Americans. "Mr. Hegseth's record is one of division, not unity," charged Senator Elizabeth Warren. "He seems more interested in stoking culture wars than in keeping our country safe." Hegseth, however, remained defiant. He cast himself as a victim of political correctness, a patriot targeted for speaking uncomfortable truths. His supporters rallied to his defense, accusing Democrats of engaging in character assassination. The hearing, intended to be a sober assessment of his qualifications, had devolved into a partisan slugfest, a reflection of the deep fissures running through American society. As the hearing drew to a close, it was clear that Pete Hegseth had left an indelible mark on the Senate Armed Services Committee. But whether that mark would be one of admiration or apprehension remained to be seen. Republicans, buoyed by his unwavering commitment to a strong national defense and his promise to shake up the Pentagon bureaucracy, largely seemed poised to confirm him. Democrats, however, remained deeply troubled by his past behavior, his controversial statements, and his lack of experience. The battle lines were drawn. The outcome of the confirmation vote, while uncertain, promised to be a nail-biter. More than just Hegseth's fate hung in the balance. His nomination had become a proxy war for the soul of America, a referendum on the country's role in the world and the values it holds dear. The outcome, whatever it may be, will have profound implications for the future of the United States military and for America's standing on the global stage. As the Senate prepared to cast its vote, the weight of history seemed to press down on the chamber. The warrior, his face etched with determination, awaited the verdict. The nation, deeply divided, held its breath.